Hello, and welcome to Skirmish Turf. Hope you're doing well, or at least as well as one could hope. In this video, I'll be taking you through a world building project of mine in which a fantastic world full of gods and magic were destroyed. Once the world of Skirmish Turf had been a fantasy, but not a particularly cheery one. This world was ruled by uncaring deities who created cruel children, the orcs, elves, cyclops, and dwarves. They treated their thralls as disposable tools, those slave races being the humans, Valmeg, and Boarmen. Together, these serfs would rise up and destroy their masters. The overseers were killed, and the corpses of the gods would fall from the heavens and crash to the earth below. Many would hit dry land and be torn apart by ravenous animals. Others would fall into the oceans of this world and sink into the abyss. While many would hope this would be the end of the gods' terror, they would impact the world in ways not foreseeable by any of the now free races. When the flesh of the gods was consumed, it would alter your mind and soul in unpredictable ways. Most sane people avoided the bodies of these deities, but to the animals of Skirmish Turf, a meal was a meal. Any beast that had a taste for flesh swarmed these carcasses and would feast. While the ones that consumed the gods initially didn't feel the effects, their offspring would show the symptoms. Many predators grew larger, stronger, and less afraid of people. Some animals mutated more severely than others, with bugs being the most severely affected and already large predators, such as lions and wolves, feeling the effects less. Now imagine how bizarre and dangerous these effects would be on a marine ecosystem. The oceans of Skirmish Turf went unexplored for nearly 1,000 years due to how unpredictable and dangerous they were. It was a time when sea monsters were real, and they were about as terrifying as you would imagine. Crabs as big as bowls, krakens whose tendrils would tear you apart, eels that resemble sea serpents, and some deep-sea terrors straight out of your worst nightmares. Yet as frightening as these beasts were, they were not suited to last. All these mutant animals were all trying to compete for similar niches, and only a few could come out on top. Some stuck around for a while, such as the giant crabs. We all know that crab is the ultimate life form after all, but only some of the most resilient would stick around in modern Skirmish Turf. For the oceans, the animals mutated by the god's flesh that have stuck around in modern times are the star-dead, giant sharks, vampire squids, and the subject of today's video, otters. The main reason this video is about otters of all things is that I wanted something simple to do after the beast that was last episode. But I also wanted it to look halfway decent, so it ended up taking me 2 weeks to make. I am so lazy. I was just thinking about how certain things could be interpreted in Skirmish Turf, and one of those things was mermaids. Now, you know how mermaids are usually interesting? Well, what if instead of that, they were otters? Okay, but why? Well, for starters, otters are animals we typically associate as cute, but are in fact quite vicious, and that seemed to fit right in with mermaids being beautiful but dangerous. It's one of those things edgy people on the internet will tell you that the cute animals that hold hands while sleeping will do unspeakable things to seal pups. If you know, you know. Another thing that drew me to this concept was the idea that otters have a lot of traits we might associate with mermaids. They're at least a little social, they're quite graceful swimmers, they can use tools, and they can climb onto land. That and I was in a weasel mood, but I also wanted to do something aquatic, so here it is. I also figured that if any animal was mutated could survive the progress of society, it would be otters. While many are endangered in the real world, the Mer-otters of Skirmish Turf are quite prevalent throughout the world's oceans and rivers. They are such effective predators that they've outcompeted seals and sea lions in many regions, so now they're the endangered species. In this piece, the Mer-otters are the blue-ringed otter, named so for reasons that if you have a functional pair of eyes, you can probably guess. They are a saltwater species and are one of the largest and most prevalent species in the world, reaching 2 to 3 meters at adulthood and living in groups up to 100 or even 500 otters. A group of Mer-otters in Skirmish Turf is called a maiden, and the largest maiden ever recorded had 2,000 individuals that would climb aboard warships at night and begin eating the crew. That's another thing about Mer-otters. They're very good climbers and can squeeze into spaces you'd least expect. It's not uncommon for them to intentionally get caught in fishing nets, so when the crew pull up their catch, they get a very nasty surprise. Much like the mermaid myth, sailors across Skirmish Turf fear the Mer-otters. Unless you have a really big boat or armed guards, most shipping vessels will avoid territory that the otters live in. During times of war, when a ship is sunk near land, the Mer-otters will often show up to eat the survivors. During the World War of Armageddon, crews of sunken ships were twice as likely to survive in open ocean because while sharks can engage in similar behavior, at least they can't climb onto dry land. Similar to sirens, the mer-otters also sing. They produce melodic howls to communicate over long distances and sharp chirps when up close. It's apparently a very sweet sound, but when that sound comes closer and you lack a weapon, it's the last thing you want to hear. So if they're so dangerous, why haven't they been exterminated? Well, it's not from a lack of trying, but these muscelids make sure that they're only seen when they want to. They only stay in a single spot for extended periods to raise pups. They're always on the move looking for fish, crustaceans, and urchins to eat. They can even spend several days kilometers away from land, kept warm by their thick coats and kept together by holding paws together when sleeping. Yes, they do the whole hand-holding thing when sleeping, and it's adorable. They'll lock paws and tails together as groups to avoid drifting away, while a few stay awake to watch for sharks or sea dragons. If a predator attempts to attack a sleeping group of otters, it usually ends with them getting mobbed and killed in the process. Doesn't stop them from trying, though. Another thing that makes mer-otters so elusive is that they are usually very wary of the sentient races. While they see humans, boremen, velmake, and trolk as prey, they also aren't stupid. They know how dangerous we are as a species and only attack when the opportunity presents itself. Much like the sea weasels they are, they're really good at hiding from those they don't want to be seen by. It's gotten to the point that if they hear boats or planes, they'll instinctively dive into the water to hide. As a result, their exact social workings is poorly studied and understood. While there has been attempts to quell the mer-otters, a much more effective method is to prepare for them. Simple things like barbed wire in the sides of ships to stop them from climbing or having an armed guard is usually sufficient. I really don't have a lot to say about the design process. They're otter mermaids. They're mostly based on otters, but have features taken from different seals. I added a few personal touches to suit my liking. The hands are a lot more pronounced to allow for extra gripping. I also gave them stripes running down their neck to resemble locks of hair, and they have a notch in their ear because I like how it looks and you are powerless to stop me. The tail is also technically their back feet because evolution really hates giving animals anything new and will modify whatever it can to get the job done. While the mutations seen in the mer-otters are more plausible, some of the creatures mutated by the godflesh are really out there, but that will have to wait for another day. So yeah, a maiden of blue-ringed otters, one of the largest species of mer-otters in skirmish turf. I wanted to do something simple yet kinda fun. Not my greatest piece of art, but it's definitely not the worst thing I've created for this project. I hope you enjoyed this video and it made your day better. I do plan on taking a break for just a little bit because I have something more grand planned for the next video. I bid you all farewell, and until next time, stay safe, and have a good one.